Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm good. Just woke up off of night shift, so ugh.
Okay. So, long time no see, actually. What's the latest news so far? What have you been practicing?
Um, so mainly just support and tank. It's usually like whenever I'm trying to main tank, but whenever I get frustrated, I usually just swap over to support just to change it up.
Hmm.
But for tank, it's kind of just focusing on like cooldown usage, not spamming stuff. But I noticed the thing I struggle with most is like trying to create space into spam comps.
Okay.
I just feel like as soon as I peak, like that's kind of this recording kind of shows a little bit in the third round. It just like
Hmm.
feels like every time I try to create space, I'm instantly like 1 HP and I have to just back up.
Okay, yeah, so it's just difficult for you to create space push in. Okay, that makes sense. Do you have
Yeah,
a
and
do you have a replay?
yeah. So I'm just trying to launch it. Then I think I can. Yeah, so like the first round wasn't too bad. I'm sure there'd still be plenty of mistakes to look at. Um, so
Let's take a
send it
look.
to you now.
Second
And yeah,
round. Mhm.
the second round was we just won, and then the third round was kind of like the most. Where I noticed I was basically just waiting for my DPS to basically get a pick for me to push, like because I just felt like every time I peeked around the corner, I was instantly just getting lit up.
Okay, so do you want to start with the third round then, or do we want to look at the entire game here?
Um, yeah, we'll start with the third round. I feel like that's probably like the most beneficial. I felt like the second round was kind of just we just had map control. That was about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we start with the third one
Yeah.
then. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think yeah, this is, yeah.
So what are you looking to do, Zari, here in general? What's your
Uh,
priorities?
Typically, I'll like in the poke phase of the fight, I'll kind of be a bit more liberal with my bubbles, just try and get charge up before as we're poking, no one's really fighting it. And then, but by the time I actually go into the fight, I always like to have one bubble and just try and maintain charge a little bit.
Okay, okay.
So,
Anything else?
and just generally just try and like go on soft flanks and see if I can just find a support off a little bit by themselves, so I can quickly just like, get a quick pick, use my bubble to kind of extend a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
not get punished too hard for it.
Yeah. Okay, okay. I think all of that makes sense. Ooh, well, let's just start with the bubble usage, I think, because your playing Zaur is the most important, and this tool just allows you to create space on the field. Now,
Yeah,
what the difference is between Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 is that you don't have as much time to gain charge in the poke phase anymore. You basically have to make sure, usually, that you have both of the bubbles to kind of control space and actively take space. If you can sneak one bubble, maybe even two sometimes, but you have to be clear. If you're about to take space, if your team is about to take space, if they're about to fight, there's no way you don't have two bubbles. You need have both basically when you're
okay,
fighting. Yeah. So if we try
okay,
if we're trying to do something here, if we're trying to take space in a point, then our D as well can most of our team kind of contribute on that space. We're not just farming charge now, yeah, because your team
yeah,
is about to fight in 3 seconds. If you're looking to farm charge, well, if they're gonna engage, you just don't have that extra bubble. So
yeah.
see what I mean? You're trying to kind of wait for your team's pressure. Yeah, can they capitalize on you taking space now?
No, there's a shield in the way. None of them are actually peaked. Really, the
Mm-hmm.
Bastion's so far back. Both supports like, and Reaper's not flanked enough as well. So
Yeah,
it's like, yeah,
exactly, exactly. So that is the main thing. We use the tank just to be really precise with when you're walking in. As Zarya now, you don't farm charge as much compared to Overwatch 1. So your Reaper is engaging, your Bastion is doing this. This is when you want to take space, basically. That is when
okay,
the attention goes towards you, should go towards you, not the Reaper, not the Bastion. And Because you have the bubble, you can survive, or you can also save somebody who is being the most active on the field right now. So if you look into this situation, who is the most active?
I have to be Reaper.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Kind of the most frontliney. He gets the most attention. That is your thought process, basically. Anybody
yeah,
who is being the most aggressive, it's either you who gets a lot of attention or one of your teammates. But now we kind of use both bubbles, and it's just before the actual engagement.
Sitting here. Yeah.
That is the main thing. Positioning wise, this might work. Yeah, we can take space, do something.
Yeah, and everyone was just like that awkward range where I couldn't just laser them, so I just backs back up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So see, we kind of using our resources to also help us to beam people, to help us to close the gap and just maintain that pressure. See, because you have that bubble, it can help you to pressure these people out. But is it enough, you think? Is it enough for you to just kind of pressure them continuously? What do you think?
No, like I'm not an LOS or any of my supports, so it's kind of like I base a bubble and I have to back up.
Yeah, exactly. So if you would like to close the distance with these guys, you need 2 bubbles. Do you see why it's more beneficial? Yeah. That is kind of the main priority. We looking at it like, okay, let's have most of our resources. Can we get our bubble back? And then later you can push up with 2. Maybe you being the most aggressive person, and then you can get some focus on you, or one of your teammates there being the most aggressive. You can also bubble them. Okay, so we swap to Orisa. We'll look at the Orisa then.
Yeah, so I do eventually swap to Sig, I think, after this as well. Because I'm just like, I just want to have something to help aid, like, just bit of like aid abilities to try and create space with like the javelin and the swing. Or the spin, I'm not sure what it's actually called.
Yeah, because we can focus more on macro, just general idea of how you take space, and not go into too many specifics, so we can just focus on one hero. What kind of direction you want to go?
I'm probably just focusing more on just like how I create space in general. Just
general, okay.
I usually try to stay on. Depending, usually like for me picking a tank, it's kind of more map dependent, and then as well then countering. So it's like.
What is the thought process behind Orisa here? Why you look to
trying to think.
Orisa.
Trying to like javelin the remarch, so he's not like really as a great effective range, so he can't use his fists and stuff. Some 8 for the bastion, and just fortify, just so kind of like just use those abilities to try and create space and just really be out of tank. But
it feels like
just
there's just the Orisa is, a lot of times is good at just kind of disabling people, anybody who likes to close the gap, especially divers, because you have that javelin. So might be still beneficial in your case if you can play Zarya, you can actually stay and try to do as much pressure as you can, just by helping the Reaper out, by helping the maybe bashing out. Sometimes it's kind of usually if the range allows and you can get enough charge pretty easily based on the map, and you have somebody who likes to close the gaps. Zarya is usually okay-ish. Orisa is not. There are not too many characters in the enemy team to close the gap with, so it's not that necessary. But still, if you're looking at it, when we're looking to take space, when we're looking to do something without cooldowns, let's see. So we start off with Fortify. How do you approach the fight usually? Do you start off with Fortify, or?
Typically, I try to. Depends, like. If I'm playing against like a monkey, I usually save my javelin always for his jump. So I just like as soon as I see him jump, I just javelin him away from my backline.
Right.
I like say if I'm playing dive and use my spin to push him out of his bubble. If I'm playing against dive, stuff like that. And fortifies for more creating space. But then it's like if I'm trying to actively create space. Like against, say, this comp, I'd probably use my javelin spin more to create the space. And once I'm up, use the fortify. So usually I use fortify at the end. More like when my armor's gone. And then I'd be like, okay, like I can die here.
Yeah. Exactly. Actually, give me a second. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, you sound. You sound
Okay.
clear.
Yeah, there was an audio issue for a second. Now it's good. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So basically, because we're looking to grab the enemy's attention at the right time, you as a Orisa again, if you're doing the javelin spin, if you're thinking, well, I'm engaging, if my team can capitalize on that, it's a big tool for you to kind of just not only get yourself in a fight, get yourself in a position you want to go, but also you gonna grab a lot of the enemy team's attention after. So that is where fortify is really useful. Like because at this point of time, there is there are a lot of chances for the enemy team to just not look at you and ignore your fortify. For example, they want to make it kind of otherwise. You see the timing here as well. Yeah, we're using fortify, but nobody's kind of able to capitalize. It seems like. So that is one idea, is our cooldowns, like similar to Zarya. Yeah, we're making sure that the timing of the pressure is good. Specifics of Orisa is just, usually engaging with javelin spin is better. I'm thinking what else we can add to you so it's like easier to understand. Let's think about the range. So similar concept to Zarya. And you remember how it was hard for you to close the gap when you was looking to engage as the Zarya, right? Yeah, so bubbles can help you, abilities can help you, but the main idea for us is to use cover as much as possible, so we're not using as much stuff, we're not using our abilities as much. So what do you think about your positioning here? What kind of rotation you could take so you save some of your abilities? So walls are basically protecting you a little bit more. What do you think?
Yeah. So thinking like probably like one or two, basically either go to the next wall that's in front of me, like where on the other side of where that Ilari healing beam is.
Yeah.
Or kind of rotate around to my left around that kind of that weird L shape bit. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I'm just trying to stay in LOS of my Arno just on that high ground, either way.
Yeah. You want the LOS of the Ana, sure. But it only matters when you're fighting. That's why I'm saying, if we let them look into the rotations, you could be isolated while you're doing that. There's no big risk as well. If you know the enemy team, the overall around the point, we can take those rotations. And this way you also grab some of the enemy attention, you make them turn around at you, which is nice. Anything else? You want to say something?
I think... unfortunately, with some of these new maps, I've only played like some of these. I think it's like the first time I've actually played this map, so I'm like, I don't really know the map very well, so I'm kind of just botting main a little bit. But
yeah, it's a little bit difficult for sure with the new maps to just. But to figure stuff out, always experimenting is quite nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the new arena maps. Like the first, I don't know, 3 weeks playing those, I had no idea.
Right. See, this rotation here, that's what gets you to pressure the enemy team easily. You don't have to waste as much stuff. Obviously, the fight is over, but you still making it easy for yourself to pressure the stuff out. It's just something you want to do right before. Not being afraid of being isolated, because this way, let's say you're not isolated, but you contribute into the same space just from another spot. Once you contribute to the main fight, you're able to get your team in line of sight, they're able to see you, and you divert the enemy team's attention. Well, the spear makes sense.
Yeah, I was just trying to burst,
Trying to take space. Going on this guy's there, sure.
See, I'm just trying to, like, cause I know the Sig's still alive, so I'm just trying to, the Show Remarch, I was just cutting off LOS so he can't get any healing there. That's like my thinking.
Good. That was good, yeah. Prioritizing squishes generally, and it was the biggest threat anyway. 2 people versus 1 ram. 2 people are...
Yeah.
Those 2 targets, that is something you want to go on first. It's a kind of necessary fortify again, I think.
Yeah, I thought just to get out of the trap.
You
but-
could, you can. It's just seeing it like when there's a reaction towards the trap. If there's big bursts incoming, and I'm grabbing the attention, a lot of the attention, then fortify is good.
Okay.
It's kind of javelin spin gets you in a fight, and you grabbing a lot of attention after. Usually now, if you just in a position, find yourself in a position where there's a lot of attention towards you, well, you might use fortify right away sometimes, but yeah, the question is maybe you could keep it, then javelin spin after, get this guy to actually help your team to pressure. That is one of the other things, because you want to make it easier for your team to pressure you, trying to burp the stuff in your team sightlines a little bit more, so it's easier for them to see things.
Yeah.
You see, it's kind of, that's why it's more beneficial to kind of do it this way, if possible, of course, but
Yeah, I tried a javelin, but I fucking missed. Yeah.
it's alright. See, what's the problem with this ultimate?
Very narrow. Larry has a movement ability as a shield right there. None of my team are inside to actually follow up on anything.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest one. Yeah. Making sure
Yeah.
there's a follow-up, there is some sort of... yeah, your team can contribute to that. It's kind of the general thing, yeah? But it's always timing. Yeah, make sure it's right. But I guess to
Yeah.
just kind of not forget about how we get better timing, just trying to look around a little bit more, ask communicational stuff, asking, well, can you guys contribute? If not, well, you just can look around and see if they can engage with you. You can just look around and see, is there a possibility for them to do anything just right before the engagement, looking around a little bit more. Sometimes
Yeah.
you might even look into some animations. If you see bullets of your teammates, that might also help.
Yeah.
Just a little bit better cover usage there, but
Yeah.
roll is fine. Well, we go Sigma. Okay. All those cooldowns.
Yeah. I'm definitely a bit of a cooldown masher on tank.
Are those are beneficial? Yeah, like those. It seems like who could contribute? Well, Baptiste a little bit, Reaper just a little bit. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
Can most of your team be there? Yeah. What is that area where you should be fighting? What is the area? Let's kind of think. What do you expect an enemy to be before using those cooldowns first, based on where your team is?
Oh, like in that kind of that more of that choke already, like where the ball is a bit more centered kind of thing.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
So you basically either bait them in somewhere, you bait them in that space, and then you shut it down with your resources, or you push in their space, like let's say your teammate's just about to push this corner, and then you have the resources contribute into that space. That makes sense. But here we see the enemy team is about to walk in, and we don't have any cooldowns. Well, you're gonna have your shield decharged soon. You shift in 4 seconds, but it might change the outcome of the fight if you don't have it when the enemy team is actually actively engaging. There's a Bastion ult to stop the engage, but so it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm thinking right before making a decision and maybe doing this extra thing, so it's right there. I'm thinking I'm taking this space. If I'm taking this space and gonna invest a lot of stuff, let's just look around and check. Yeah, just look around and check.
Yeah,
what is
just
the space we're trying to contribute to. Yeah. So it's not too tunnel vision. Yeah, it might be good decision to push here, but it's just based on your team's position now, it's not.
Yeah, I know. I definitely on tank. I definitely tunnel vision a lot.
Just a little bit more scouting, a little bit more looking around, checking for information. Okay. Let's fight Okay, well, can they touch? Maybe not.
I think maybe they just don't touch.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's
Yeah.
nothing too special. They're just touching one by one. They can disable
Yeah,
them.
they just stagger.
Looking to go off the Bastion, that's fine. Shield makes sense. They actually engaging, so now that makes sense. Yeah, obviously, I'm not saying you can use your cooldowns similar to Zarya. You can use your cooldowns in the poke phase a little bit to either help you
Yeah.
pressure. As Sigma, you can poke stuff out from far, or as Zarya, you can farm all charge, or just charge because you use your bubble. But when the brawl phase happens, you need to have two bubbles, and in reality, Overwatch 2, especially in King of the Hill, the brawl phase gonna start really soon. So you usually kind of keep your
Yeah.
cooldowns and then just do good rotation, which allows you to keep those cooldowns and then actually engage with full. Helping
Okay.
your team out, helping yourself out, obviously, in dealing damage. Yeah, maybe we can get you a couple more examples. We have limited time, yeah. Well, let's see. Yeah, do you have any questions so far, maybe?
No, that was all good. So like, obviously, like, so I need to focus more on like rotating without you like closing distance without using abilities, kind of thing. Like being able to rotate, better rotation, so that once we're in the poke phase, or once we're in the brawl phase, then I have my abilities.
Yeah, that can be the one. Well, let's just see. Get us a couple more examples, maybe. We
Yeah.
maybe
I
here.
think I do prioritize a lot on just using bubbles to get high charge and then just kind of try and go on soft flanks.
Yeah, see, this is what I mean. That is the exact problem. We using bubbles like you would in a Overwatch 1 reality.
Yeah.
Like, those bubbles would be okay-ish because you need to focus on getting charged first as the priority. Now, you don't actually use the bubbles to gain charge, you're just using those mainly to help you out in taking space. I can give you an example as well. Just the usual one I use. For example, here, Zarya, 810 is quite good Zarya, so maybe I can just give you example of what he was doing. 1 second. Okay.
Yeah.
So taking space, bubble management, something like that. Yeah? I have a couple of timestamps.
You're not dying. You're.
Yeah. Okay. Just gonna drag this. So, see, similar situation. We're on the King of the Hill map, but it's just different map. It's Busan. And see, he has two bubbles. Now, the idea is we're taking space with bubbles when most of your team can contribute. So, see, this actually this is our making a mistake. It was early, by the way, was early days of Overwatch 2 when it just came out, but he didn't figure out, I think, the stuff already. So he's waiting. He's waiting. Some of the attention goes towards him, and then he uses the bubble to kind of help him out to stay. But it's just when most of the attention, most of his team can actively push, actively do things. So that is really important. I think he's still gonna lose the fight because the Genji got peeked off, but you know, there's still like shows. We trying to use the bubbles just to kind of help us to take space. Now, that is the thing. When your teammates are regrouping, maybe you can use that one bubble and give you charge, but it's only if you know you're gonna get that bubble back. Like, he knows here you're gonna get his bubble back to actually take space.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not wasting anything. Now we're taking space. There's some of the attention goes towards him, so he uses two bubbles actually on himself. There's nobody who is going too aggressive like the Genji could, or maybe he could have Reaper going in, so he could enable him.
Yeah.
So that is what you want to do. Just a little bit more of this, similar to here. Somebody goes aggressive, or they going aggressive towards you when most of your team is contributing. You use the bubble. Okay, I think we can kind of summarize all of this. So, what do we got out of today so far?
So, mainly sorry, just not using bubbles too early just to get charged, more taking space and once the focus is on you.
Okay, so
just trying to,
yeah, continue.
Yeah. Then basically with trying to actually get to the fight, try to rotate in ways that I don't have to use my cooldowns. So then when I'm actually in the brawl phase, I have all my cooldowns still available and I'm not like using them all so early and making sure if I'm pushing or using abilities, they're in an area where my team can contribute as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is the biggest one. Um,
Yeah.
we're trying to use those cooldowns, defensive cooldowns. So I'll just say, yeah. So far, we been looking at the Orisa, Fortify, Javelin Spin, Bubbles, so defensive cooldowns like that, Bubbles, Spin, yeah, Orisa Spin, Fortify, and Sigma Shield, and your, what's that called? Just the shift, yeah, the one
Yeah.
the one you can get a lot of HP out of. Okay, so all this stuff, yeah, making sure your team can contribute, and then trying to take space with that. Obviously, there's much more in depth into just details. When is the best timing for you to use those, and who you should enable, because with especially with cooldowns like Zarya bubbles or with Sigma Shield, you might think about who is the most aggressive, who is being really aggressed on, and try to help these guys out, stop the enemy's pressure.
Yeah.
But we can talk about this a little bit more in detail later if you want. You could actually even do live session later if
Yeah.
possible. Yeah, if you want that, why not? But yeah, for now, let's just focus on the cooldowns. Obviously, scouting, yeah, can help out a lot. Scouting, look around, make sure most of your team can contribute. And it's just right before the engagement. Right before the engagement. Usually when you round the corner, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and with the range, how you phrased it for yourself? What do you want to do? So you get in a comfortable range. What is that about? How do you understand it?
Like with Zarya and all that.
Any hero. Well,
Usually
Zarya,
just
Orisa, mainly. Well, I guess.
yeah, usually both of them are kind of brawl with like, especially Zarya. I'm just looking to brawl. And then Orisa, usually I like to poke at the start, bait their resources out, like kind of thing. And then once I'm actually in the thing, trying to isolate someone and brawl.
Yeah, but how do you get to pressure at
I like how you get
the
to the
short
range.
range? Yeah, you need to
But
do proper rotation. I remember where you
yeah,
gotta
okay,
do.
yeah.
So gotta do that. Focus on that. Like for example, here on this map, what are the possibilities? You might think about getting this space here. You might think about getting this space here. So it's easier for you to get on a short range and divert more the enemy's attention while contributing on this space where your team is fighting. You're still gonna be in line of sight of your team by doing this, but it divert the attention more.
Yeah.
So trying to, yeah, get as close as we can. Look for a little bit more short range rotation, and don't be afraid to be isolated from your team while rotating. I guess this is the main takeaway. You don't have to be stuck with your team too much,
Yeah.
especially if playing more self-sufficient characters like Zarya. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking next time maybe let's look into angle control a little bit more. It's just what kind of positions you should be taking so it divert more attention.
Yeah.
Divert attention. Another thing is ability usage specifics, I think. We just looked into more macro, I guess, just bigger picture. But you
Yeah.
want to look at the specific hero? Let's do that. Bring me the hero. We can what if you, and then we can do a live session as well. So it's just easy for you to implement all this stuff. That sounds good.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. Is there a specific day you want to aim for, or do you want to take more time and practice first?
Yeah, I'll probably just try and practice that stuff for a couple of weeks and
Hmm.
see, especially if it's a live session, I'll have to check what time, like it is in Australia and stuff like that when you're
Sure.
streaming. Because I think usually it's like 1 a.m. for me or something really late. I think we're usually when I see if you're a streamer, it's usually pretty late. So I have to try and like get a time where I can actually start that late or something.
Yeah, well, if you want, I can also open some time slots if needed. If you're aiming for,
Yeah.
if you want an earlier time, just in case, let me know. I can open
Yeah.
time
Oh
slots on the
yeah.
website. Hmm.
Yeah. Or it's yeah, we'll talk about that. That sounds good.
Okay.
Because just yeah, I have to try and figure out what time. Just the time zone differences.
That's alright. That's alright. I understand. Okay, well, then good luck in your games, and I will see you later. Try to implement what I mentioned